So we've seen how we can add vectors graphically by placing them head to tail. So you might wonder how we might be able to subtract vectors. So to subtract vectors, really one of the easiest ways, in my opinion, is to think of simply adding the negative, right? So we could say A minus B, this is equal to A plus negative B, which is, a property of just normal addition and is also true of vector addition. So when I think about subtracting vectors, I follow the same mechanics, or I follow the same procedure as adding two vectors, where you place the head to the tail. But what you need to do first is take the negative of your second vector, of the vector you're trying to subtract. So let's see. So if I had this pink arrow, this pink vector, and I wanted to subtract this green one, that's the same as adding, see, now I've taken the negative of the green vector, which, taking the negative just switches the direction of the vector, right? So this first one is sort of pointing down and to the right, whereas the second one is pointing up and to the left, but they're the same. I haven't changed the length here. So I simply add the negative of the green vector. And again, then I follow the same procedure where I place the vectors tail or head to tail. And then the resulting vector, right, starts at the tail of the first and ends at the head of the second. So it's equal to something that looks like this blue dashed line. And so that is how you subtract vectors. It's really the same steps as adding them, but again, you take the negative of the second vector before you do that. All right, so let's try one again together. Again, what I'd like you to do is, at home on a piece of paper, draw these vectors, try to copy them down with roughly the right directions and magnitudes, and then see what you get. So pause the video here and give that a try. All right, so the answer here was A, and again, let's try to do that together. So first, what we want to do is we're doing A minus B. So first we want to see what the negative of B looks like, right? It's the same length as B, but then pointing in the opposite direction. So it should look something like that. And again, we add them by placing them head to tail. And so I'm just going to move this B vector over and draw it attached to my A vector. And so this is now negative B. And then the result goes from the tail of A to the head of negative B. And we see again, out of these options I have, the only one that looks anything like this is choice A. So that's the correct answer. All right, so that's how you subtract vectors. You simply think about adding the negative, and that's the same thing as subtracting.